Why traveling can change the way you see the world. Good morning, everyone. That's my topic. When I first chose this topic, I honestly thought traveling was mostly about going on vacation, seeing famous places, and taking cool pictures. That that's why I was connected with traveling. But after I started doing my research, I realized I was only looking at one small part of the picture. The more I learned it, the more I understood that traveling isn't it really about the destination? It's about what happens to you while you are what you learn when you came back. That idea really caught my attention, and that's why I chose this topic. Today, I wanted to share why I think traveling is one of the best ways to learn, not because one of the places we visit, but because how those experiences can change ourselves. One of the first things that surprised me during my research was how much traveling can change the way we think. When we spend most of our life in the same city or even in the same country, it's easy to think that our way of living is just normal. We get used to the same food, the same traditions, and the same routine every day. But once we travel somewhere different, we start noticing that people live in completely different ways. They eat different food, celebrate different holidays, and have different traditions. At first, can be At first, some of those things might seem unusual, but after learning more about them, you realize they are not strange at all. They are simply different. Honestly, I think that's one of the biggest lessons traveling can teach us. It reminds me that there is only one right thing way to live. Another thing I found really interesting is how traveling helps people grow. When we look at travel on social media, it usually looks perfect. We see beautiful beaches, amazing food, and incredible views. But that's not the whole story. Sometimes flights get delayed, sometimes people get lost, and sometimes they even don't speak the same language or have to solve unexpected problems. At first, those situations probably feel stressful, but when I was reading about people experience, I noticed something interesting. Many of them say those difficult moments became their favorite memories because they learned how to stay calm and solve the problems and adapt to new situations. I think that's something we don't always learn in school. Traveling pushes people out of their comfort zone, and even though that can feel uncomfortable at first, it's usually where the biggest lessons happen. Another idea I really like is that traveling teaches us to appreciate things we normally don't notice. For example, when we are home, it's easy to follow the same routine every day without thinking much about it. But after visiting another place, many people came back with a different perspective. Some, Sometimes they appreciate their own culture more, and other times they become curious about learning another language, trying new foods, or understanding different traditions. That really surprised me because I never thought a trip could continue teaching me and teaching someone even after they got back home. I also found out that many people research connect travel with personal growth and well-being. New experience challenge our brains, improve our ability to adapt, and can even reduce stress by helping us step away from our normal routine for a while. Now I think traveling isn't always easy. One of the biggest challenges is money. Traveling can be very expensive and not everyone has the chance to visit another country. But something I learned is that traveling doesn't always have to mean flying across the world. You can always learn by visiting another city, exploring a national park, taking a road trip, or experience a community that's different from your own. The important part isn't it how far you go, it's being willing to experience something new. So after doing all of my research, my opinion about traveling completely changed. Before I mostly saw it as an entertainment, now I see it as one of the best forms of education a person can have. A classroom can teach us facts, books can teach us, but traveling teaches us through real experience, real people and real moments. Those lessons Those lessons stay with us long after the trip is over. So, if there is one thing I hope you remember from my speech today is that traveling doesn't just change the place you are in. It can change the way you see the world, and sometimes even the way you see yourself. So that's why I chose this topic, because I think it's really interesting how travel can change our perspective in life and some things. And that's it. Thank you guys.